Kazan.
Kazan, Kazan,
Kazan,
Kazan,
Kazan.
Kazan,
Kazan, Kazan, Kazan,
Kazan,
Kazan, Kazan.
Казань.
Это вы здесь тоже будете фотографировать?
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, from beautiful and sunny Kazan, the city of Kazan, the capital of the Republic of Tatarstan. We are just 1 hour flight from Moscow, less than 2 hours flight from St. Petersburg. We are offering tours to this beautiful city. You know, it's our second visit here. We have been here before. Last February we made a film about Kazan. And now we decided to make another tour for you. And let me introduce Yana, the local English-speaking guide, to you.
İsen misiniz? Rahim Yitagas.
Oh,
Yana is saying.
hello and welcome to Tatarstan in Tatar language. Now, only English for you. We are offering 2 or 3 day tours to Kazan, and Yana, as a local guide accredited by the state government, knows better than anybody else about all must-sees and highlights of this beautiful city. And before we start our tour, I have one very important question. Yana, why is it worth coming to Kazan? Why is it worth visiting this city?
So Kazan is one of the most beautiful cities of Russia. This is the place where you can see the combination of different styles, different religions, nationalities. And not accidentally, it is called the third capital of Russia. Kazan Kremlin is one of the most famous sites of Kazan that is included in all our itineraries. You shouldn't think that only Moscow has a Kremlin. The word Kremlin means fortress, so many Russian cities have Kremlins, including Kazan. And in 2005, our city celebrated millennium. Exactly here, the original fortress was built 1,000 years ago. One of the most fascinating sights of Kazan Kremlin is Suyumbike Leaning Tower. The name of Suyumbike is full of legends. If you want to know them, book a tour with BeHappyRussia travel company. Kazan, our city, is famous all over the world because of 2 facts. And one of the facts that this is the place where the Khans, the descendants of Genghis Khan, lived, ruled, and you can see the door to the burial vault where they were buried. Close to the burial vault there was the Khan's palace. Unfortunately, it hasn't been preserved. And now on its place you can see magnificent presidential palace, where our local president, the president of the Republic of Tatarstan, meets official delegations. When I say the president, I don't mean Russian president, who is now Mr. Putin. I mean our local president, Mr. Minikhanov. He is now our president. The second thing, Why Kazan is so significant? This is the fact of coming of Virgin Mary and Jesus Christ in dreams and visions to a little girl. It happened in the 16th century, and after those visions and dreams, Kazan icon of Virgin Mary was found. Here you can see magnificent cathedral with light blue domes that is dedicated to this icon. In Moscow, St. Petersburg and other Russian cities, there are cathedrals named after this icon. Kul-sharif Mosque is the main mosque of the Republic of Tatarstan. It is a new modern mosque, but such mosque named after Kul-sharif existed in the 16th century. It was named after a famous Tatar poet, enlightener, imam of that mosque, kul-sharif, who was killed during the siege and the mosque was destroyed. But people kept this mosque in their hearts, and that's why our president not long ago signed the decree to construct this mosque again. I will be happy to show this mosque to you, dear guests. We have arrived into the old Tatar settlement, the place where the Tatars used to live for many years. Nowadays we don't have any borders. The Russians and the Tatars live very peacefully. For a long time we haven't had any confrontation between Russians and Tatars. But such borders existed in the 16th century. They appeared. Ivan the Terrible conquered our city in 1552, and the Tatars were exiled 40 kilometers away from Kazan. And only later some Tatars were allowed to live in these places, in this area that were very bad for living. There were many pools and swamps of stagnant water. After it, the Tatars were exiled much further from these places, and only since the 18th century the Tatars were allowed again to come here, and these places were occupied by very rich Tatar merchants, by noble people and by imams of the mosques. And now I would like to show you the most ancient mosque of Kazan. This is the oldest mosque of Kazan. Islam religion was accepted as a state religion in 922. And before the conquest of Kazan by Ivan the Terrible, our city and our state was an Islamic state. After it, it was strictly forbidden to build the mosques, and all mosques were destroyed by the order of Ivan the Terrible. And only in 1767, when Catherine the Great came to Kazan, she allowed to build the first mosque. The oldest mosque was named after Shigabuddin Marjani. You can see the monument to him behind me. He is a very famous Tatar philosopher, enlightener, imam of the mosque who lived in the 19th century. He made a lot for the Tatar and Islamic education. The monument stands at the bank of our legendary lake, Kaban Lake.
Why is it legendary?
So the legend says, while Kazan was conquered by Ivan the Terrible, the Tatars didn't want to give their numerous treasures to Russian state, and they threw away everything on the bottom of this lake. And this version was so trustworthy that even one American company offered their help to clean up the lake, but on the condition everything they would find they would take to the USA. Our government didn't allow them to clean up the lake. They decided to find them by themselves, but they declared that they hadn't found. But who knows? Probably somewhere in private collections there are those numerous treasures. But probably they're still somewhere here. Until nowadays, our lake keeps its secret and its legends.
What a legend! I love it.
Kazan is a big scientific and educational center. This is the place where one of the oldest universities of Russia was established. It is famous for the fact that young Vladimir Lenin studied here. And I would like to show you the monument to young Lenin. It's very seldom in Russia where you can see such monuments. Very often students compare him to young Leonardo DiCaprio. Celebration of millennium brought a lot of changes and a lot of money to our city. A lot of historical buildings were renovated. Many new parks were opened, new monuments were erected. And you can see on the opposite bank of the river the old part of the city. And now we are in the new part of the city with many residential buildings, and you can see a magnificent building. You can hardly guess what is inside. It is a wedding registration office that we call a wedding palace. You can see that it has a shape of a pot or cauldron. Kazan is translated from Tatar language a pot or a cauldron. Why? I will tell you on our tour.
That fairy tale building behind us is a local puppet theater. Yana told us that it's in Tatar language called
Ekiyat, that is translated from Tatar language as a fairy tale. And in front of the theater there is the statue of a little prince who is inviting all kids to very interesting performances.
When you are in Kazan, don't miss an opportunity to walk along the pedestrian street, full of different shops, restaurants, a lot of people, little fountains. You will get the atmosphere of the city. There are not only tourists, there are a lot of locals as well. The city of Kazan remembers a lot of Russian emperors, including Peter the Great. When you are in St. Petersburg, we always take you to St. Peter and Paul Cathedral and show the birthplace of the city St. Peter and Paul fortress, founded and started by Peter the Great. Here in Kazan, we also have a cathedral connected with the name of Peter the Great, and it's named after St. Peter and Paul, St. Peter's and Paul Cathedral. This is that very church cathedral that our guide Jana mentioned very first day. It is a cathedral of Our Lady of Kazan with blue domes. Remember that? It keeps the most famous icon of Our Lady of Kazan. Shall we go and take a look inside? And this magnificent building behind me is my love at first sight. I fell in love with it the moment I saw it last February. This building houses the Ministry of Agriculture of the Republic of Tatarstan, and it's famous under the name the Palace of Farmers. All work and no wine makes Olga a dull girl. No way. Cheers! And now we are 40-minute drive from the capital of Tatarstan, from Kazan. We are in the River Monastery of Our Lady. It was founded long ago in the 17th century and experienced a lot of tragic pages during the Soviet time. Now it's back to life, and a lot of people come here and visit it. Those who want to learn the history, those who come here to pray, and those who just want to walk around and enjoy the beautiful nature.